thank you for joining me for another video. Today we're going to do a quick rundown of what is actually done to this car. I have been a little bit discreet with giving information on the car just because I am working through some issues. I have now had the car for 10 months. Thought I was going to be a little bit further with the car than what I currently am, but I will release the information on the car now. So as you guys may know, the car is modified. You just don't know how modified. So to avoid getting made fun of, I haven't left out any of that information yet, but you know, we're at the end of the season, so I'm gonna let you guys know. As you can see, the car's got wheels on it. It had Shelby CS40s in 20s on it. The car now has Shelby Venice wheels. I hated the CS40s, wanted to go with the forged wheels, so it does have Shelby Venice wheels on it now. 20 by 9.5 up front, and 20 by 10.5 in the rear. We got 275 35 20s up front, and 305 35 20 Mickey Thompson ET Street SS's in the rear. The car does have a full suspension. You're gonna see one of the shocks back there behind the wheels. It has the Ford Performance handling package, which God knows what struts and shocks they use on that. I'm probably gonna guess that they're a Coney strut and shock, but I don't know. It's red Ford Performance shit. These springs are Steeda Sports, just like I had on the SN95. There is White Line Racing. We'll see if we can see any of the White Line stuff. You're gonna see there is White Line Racing Watts link bar. White Line Racing adjustable lower control arms, if you can see them. And I did add a it did have a White Line non-adjustable upper control arm. I have since replaced that because I broke it with a BMR fully adjustable upper control arm with spherical bearings. Up front, again, just the Ford Performance shocks or struts. I did add a CHE Performance K-member brace with torque limiters to be able to fix the issue with the gear lockouts, which it has actually been successful. That's one of the parts that has actually done what it said it was going to do. You can see the rotors are slotted rotors of some nature. I don't know what. Other than that, stock Brembos. Car does have a Dynatech one-piece aluminum drive shaft. It does have Ford Performance 373s, just like the yellow car did. They are just as noisy as the yellow car, maybe a little less noisy, but it turns out that that is a common issue with the Ford Performance 373s. If you can see, you might be able to see the adjustable lower control arm poking out there underneath the car. Other than that, the car does have Exidy Mach 600 clutch. Somehow that clutch is holding together. I don't know how it is, but that clutch is holding together. It is overpowered, but it's holding together. Also, the car does have an MGW Gen 2 that I added. I'm not gonna say I'm overly happy with it, but it does. I did add an MGW Gen 2 right when I first got the car, and it does have the cylindrical shifter. You guys have seen videos on that as well. As far as electronics, I put an N2MB watt box in the glove compartment. You guys have seen the video on that. One of the first things I did was a Pioneer SPHDA 120 Apple CarPlay unit. Same one that I had in the SN95. It could not stand the aux connection. I needed navigation and everything in the dash. Goes good with the Shaker 1000. Highly suggest that unit. You're going to see a Lund N gauge. We do have that added as well. I had Brandon Diaretta from Lund retune the car. It was tuned very well from Black Dog Performance. Car was making you know, 630-ish, 640-ish prior to Lund tuning it, and so far I have not made any better numbers on the Lund tune. However, that's a whole nother story for another day with some of the issues that I'm having. But let's go ahead and get into the motor, because that's the one thing I have not really told you guys about yet. So, first thing we're going to get into is the supercharger. You guys already know I have a Trinity 2.3 TVS supercharger. This was not a takeoff from a used car. This was a out-of-the-box Ford Performance unit. Came with the supercharger, came with a stock elbow, came with the Ford Racing Cobra Jet Twin 65 unit. Some of that may be changing soon, but that is what is on the car now. The car has a JLT 127 with heat shield, filter, yada yada yada. Car has the dual JLT catch cans. Guys, don't bother buying this catch can. That doesn't do shit. Bone dry, never seen a drop of oil. That one catches all oil. Highly suggest that one. So the car has, right now, the car has a BPS 2.4 upper pulley. They call that the 2.38 or whatever. It's essentially 2.4 upper pulley. Been through multiple pulley changes fighting with belt slip. That is a pulley I have on it now. If I take it off, I may go to a grip tack. But for the most part, that pulley is doing significantly better than some of the VMP pulleys I had. Car does have a Mecco upper aux idler. Car currently has an ATI stock style replacement lower. It did once have a 20% on it. It does not anymore. Prior owner wanted it turned down because he was scared of it. So it has been since turned down. It's got a 0% on it. I had a 10% on. I had a 10% at home. I just never put it on. I sent it back to ATI because I am only running pump gas, and I don't want to take that risk right now just because of other issues I have with IATs and heat. I don't want to detonate it, so we will revisit that later when we go to alternate fuel. For plugs, it has a NGK TR7iX plugs on it. Headers, it does have Cook's 1 3/4 long tubes. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them down there, but I think that is a lot of my problem with IAT issues, just because those headers get that engine bay so fucking hot that I just can't deal with the heat. So off of those long tubes, I also have Cook's high flow catted X pipe, which is not on the car right now for obvious reasons. I want to make power. So I have the Cook's off-road X pipe on the car right now with no cats. Car has the stock cat back exhaust, stock mufflers, just obviously without the cats. I enjoy being able to talk in the car. I enjoy being able to listen to my tunes. I have the Shaker 1000. I love listening to music. I'm happy with that. I have no plans on removing those mufflers unless I blow them out with a watt box. That may happen. We will see how that goes. For the fuel system, the car has ID 725s, which are, injected dynamic 72-pound injectors. Car has stock pumps with a Kenny Bell dual channel boost pump on it. For fuel, I think that's it. Car's still pump gas car, runs on 93 primarily. Every once in a while I'll put octanium in it, which I do not like running because it's trashing my plugs and potentially my sensors. Or I'll run like 100 LL every once in a while, which is airplane fuel. Along with the tuning that I forgot with the N-Gauge, I do have the Z-Tronic ZT2 unit with the wideband and 3.5 bar map sensor, so we can log everything on this car for the most part. Cooling mods, since we know IATs is an issue, a lot of assumptions are made. This car has pretty much everything other than pulling the intercooler out. So, the car does have a Reicht 170 degree thermostat. I may be swapping that out. I don't like running the car that cold. I don't think that is as needed as what people think. I wouldn't have opted for it on the car. It may come out though, so we'll see how that goes in the future. But it does have a Reicht 170. It does have, for performance, upgraded radiator. I think it's I don't want to say it's a dual core radiator, but it's a little bit bigger radiator with higher output fans on it. It does have an AFCO Pro dual fan, dual pass heat exchanger on it. And I have replaced the Bosch brushed pump with a Davies Craig brushless pump. Has pretty much double the output. Debatably if that helped or not, but I have done it because the pump was bad. You're going to say large Moroso tank there. You're going to think that's one big tank. It is not. That tank is actually partitioned right in the middle. You just can't see it from the front. You'd have to see it right where this hose is. There's a partition right there. Obviously, that side is for engine coolant. That side is for supercharger coolant. That is 1.5 gallons, maybe almost 2 gallons. It does have a petcock. You can run ice in it. I just choose not to because it's a pain in the ass. I probably should, but I don't. One of the most important things I have not told about this car is the bottom end is not stock. One of the prior owners blew the bottom end. I don't know if it was a tuning issue. My guess with the problems I have with the car, it was probably IAT related. The pump probably shut off at some point. The guy was probably fucking with it on the highway, melted down the motor. So the motor is a built motor. However, it's not what you guys think. It's not this crazy L&M built motor. It's essentially a Cobra Jet motor. It's a Ford 5.4 crate motor from Ford Performance. It's essentially a Cobra Jet motor. It has Cobra Jet crank. It has Manley pistons. It has Manley rods, all upgraded ARP hardware, billet oil pump gears, etc., etc. The heads are stock. I was told by Brent Speed that the car had Detroit rocker cams on it. I don't think it does. I don't know if they were taken off or if they were just giving me bullshit, just because my experience with Brent Speed trying to get information on this car has been very, very weak. I can only go by the shit that I have found and the shit that I have receipts for, which is the stuff that I'm going over this. But they did tell me that Detroit rockers at one point, which I cannot confirm. The problem with this Ford block, so this is where we get into why doesn't the car make boatloads of power. So instead of having an 11-to-1 compression block, a 10-1 compression block, a 9-8-to-1, this block, if you do not mill your heads, is 8-to-1. Not 8-8-to-1, not 8.5-to-1, 8-to-1 with stock heads with no milling. So that means I should be able to run the envelope a little bit more on pump gas. However, I don't know that Lund is completely comfortable with doing that. So the current tune on Lund with pump gas gets 19.5 degrees of timing, just like everybody else gets. It doesn't always see 19.5 degrees of timing because of IATs. The 100 octane tune I have on that thing is either 20.5 or 21.5 degrees of timing. I don't normally run 100 octane in the car, so I don't really remember. Last time I had a dyno, the car didn't make great power. It was on the VMP 2.5 upper pulley, and the belt was slipping like fucking crazy. I think I only saw 14.5 pounds of boost. The car made like 634. It was already heat soaked, yada yada yada. I have a problem, so I wasn't very happy with that. Since then, I have put that BPS 2.4 on, and you know, even in the heat, I can see 16.5 pounds of boost. And second and third gear, I'll kind of tabletop it at about 17.2 in the heat. When the car is cold, when it's cold out, I can peak 18.5, somewhere around there. So obviously the car does perform more better per se in the cold. So we always pray for those cold days. I have not re-dynoed it since I got the belt slip stuff for the most part figured out. I've had it to track a couple times. I've been riddled with problems. I haven't given out too much data because I've been embarrassed of the track times. Last 2 weeks I've been trying to get back to the track and give it a little bit more sauce, but the track's been closing because this weather is so cold. It's like 65 degrees right now, almost 70 degrees. So fucking Maple Grove, you know, causing problems. So I have not had it to the track again. You know, again, riddled with the problems, pulling all the timing, IAT issues. Not really giving it too hard off of the line because I've been fighting getting it down the track. Best time so far in the car is 11.6 at 125, 126 range, something like that. That is pulling a pretty decent amount of timing. Every time I've had it, the car's been hot, it's been pulling time, and the car always traps 125. So that's the only thing that's been consistent about the car, and I've been pushing it off the line. So I've been bogging pretty bad off of the line with it, trying to get used to it. So I think the car's got a couple more mile an hour in it, actually hitting it good. You know, if I can get down to like a 1.660, I'll get a couple more mile an hour out of it. So far, I think my best 60 was maybe a low 1.8. Maybe I might have hit a 1.7, I don't know, but I want to say 1.8 as the best 60 out of it. Again, not really trying. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for mods. The only real styling mods, doing these mirror covers. I forget who those are from. American Muscle, MMD, something like that. It's got the red line tuning hood struts. I don't think there is too much more. I may be missing some things, but again, this is the gist of the car. You guys have been wondering for a while what all is done to the car. This is the gist. So under my possession, the car has made 630s, having a slew of problems. I think the car's, the way I got it set up, I think the car is gonna be a little bit over 650, 660, if I can see all the boost and timing in it on pump. The car's made over 700, right around 700. I have a few sketchy dyno sheets of this thing with a 20% lower. I had a 20% lower I was going to put back on the car, but you know, just with seeing all the problems I'm having with IETs, I don't want to take that chance with pump gas. Brandon said we can try taking out a little bit of timing, but you know, it's a moot point. Should I do it on less boost, less heat, and a little bit more timing, or do it with more boost, more heat, and less timing? So, you know, I chose the former. What we do have coming in next week, so what the further plans are, I'm getting rid of that elbow. I do think that that elbow and that throttle body are restricting me a bit. I'm getting rid of that stock elbow, and I'm actually putting a BPS ported elbow in there. They say the ported elbow is good for, you know, 12-15 horsepower. I don't know, we'll see. The reason why I did that is because I may be sending this blower out to Jason Teixeira, or not Teixeira, Teixeira at 1320 Junkie. He may be porting this blower this year and actually welding on. I may do the Trinity R 2.3R setup. So I still do have the Cobra Jet Twin 65 on it. I don't know if I'm going to go with the mono blade. We'll see. So the next things I got to figure out is, am I going to do a ported blower? I don't know. Am I better off doing a ported blower, making a little bit more boost, making a little bit more power? Will it cool it down? I don't know. Or should I go E85? E85 is a lot of money, but I could pick up a good amount of power going E85. Then I could put that 20% lower on, make even more power, potentially more heat, yada, yada, yada. Or do I pull off the blower, pull off the intercooler brick, send the brick out to J2 Fab, and have them do the flow mod on it? That's where I sit. So I'm definitely going to be doing the elbow this week, and then I really got to think long and hard this winter how much further I'm going to go with this thing. I do want to push the envelope in it. It's got a built motor. I want to run this thing to the hilt, but I need fuel. I need alternative fuel. This blower can make more power than what I'm giving it. I can probably make 730, 750, maybe even more on E85. It's going to run hot. It's going to run hard, but I think I can do it. Or I can port it and run E85 and make, I don't know, 875-ish. I don't know. I've been seeing guys making some pretty crazy numbers on these when they're ported. So guys, give me your feedback. Let me know, what would you like to see out of this car next? Should I go further with it, or should I be happy with the 650-ish wheel horsepower car and just enjoy it? The S197 chassis is a nice chassis. It's comfortable, but it's big, it's boaty, you need the power. It's quite different from the SM95. But I really do enjoy the chassis. I enjoy driving the car. I enjoy having air conditioning, being comfortable. That is nice. I like that. I like to drive the car. But again, we can never have enough. So let me know, guys, is E85 worth the plunge? It's a lot of money. There are a few stations around here that are getting it, but I still just think it's going to be a pain in the ass. Or should I hold off? Should I port the blower, maybe send the intercooler brick out to J2 Fab, see if I can get the IATs better? I don't know how much that's going to help, though, because if I still got underhood temp problems because of those headers, it's still going to be pissing in the wind. So let me know what your feedback is. What would you guys do? Hopefully this opens up a little bit more information about the car. There's probably some stuff that I missed. The car's got a lot of shit on it. So there's probably some that I missed, but hopefully this clears up some of the confusion about the car when you guys are telling me, oh, your car's stock, what do you expect? Car's not stock. It has its fair share of problems. They're minuscule problems. If you're not trying to race the car, they're not problems. The car's a great car to drive. If you're like me and you're trying to push the envelope, you're trying to beat the world, it's been a little bit more involved than I want it to be. Maybe I'll give you guys the backstory on the rest of the car one of these days. Again, I did buy somebody else's headache. But again, hopefully this clears up some information, what is actually in the car, what I plan on changing, what some of the struggles I've had with it, and you know, we'll see what the future holds. So guys, appreciate you watching. I appreciate the feedback. Hit me up in the comments, let me know what you guys want to see, and then next couple videos we'll be talking about what we're going to be doing over the winter break when the car is parked.